Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32, and good morning to our EAS friends across the country. Thank you so much for listening to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I'm your host, Robert Wakefield, president of Branch 32. That's right. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong one. Hold on. Oh, okay, there's the applause. Okay. Oh, my goodness. We have a great show for you today, so I hope that you'll listen to the whole thing. It's going to be good. So let's go ahead and let's pour that first cup. For 100 years, the Nashville Post Office Credit Union has been turning dreams into reality. Since opening our doors in 1925, we've been your trusted financial partner. Our success stories are countless, thanks to our core value, people helping people. Here's to another century of integrity, compassion, and commitment to your financial well-being. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, a tradition of people helping people since 1925. And for our first cup today, I want to take you back, for those of you who remember the comics page in the local newspaper. Now, newspapers aren't what they used to be. They used to be the thing to go to. I used to read the newspaper every day. Loved it. I absolutely loved turning the pages and seeing what was reported in the news. And one of my favorite things was to always get to the comics section of the newspaper. And there was one of my favorites. It was called The Far Side. Many of you know what I'm talking about. The Far Side. It was done by Gary Larson. He was a very clever, very funny. He had such a great sense of humor. It was just so different from the others. It really stood out. And one of them popped up in one of my feeds not too long ago that was always one of my favorites. It was a multi-paneled drawing of different items, and they all had one thing in common. They had this can of Stoppit, Stoppit. And you can Google this online. Just type in Gary Larson Stoppit, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But in the multi-panel scene, it had this spray can of Stoppit and a leaky faucet. You would praise Stoppit on that, and of course, the leak would stop. A baby crying. You'd spray Stoppit, and of course, the baby would stop crying. A charging elephant. Spray the Stoppit and everything was good. So they made me think, what would I do if I had this magic can of Stoppit that I could spray on EAS people, to help them out? What would be the items that I would want them to stop? So that's going to be our setting for today's podcast. So if I had a can of Stoppit, I think one of the first things that I would do is I would address the issue of sharing your logon and passwords. This is a problem not only in Tennessee, but I know it's got to be a problem across the country. If you are sharing your login and your password, stop it. And I'll tell you why. We've had several instances where a manager or a postmaster or a supervisor shared their password with someone, and then something went terribly wrong. And then they were the ones on the hook for it. We even had, in one instance in a metropolitan area in Tennessee, We had an acting MCSO tell supervisors, share your password with others so they can come and do Amazon Sunday. There's even some places in around these metro areas that has a drawer that you open up the drawer and there's every access to every password so that people that can come in can get access to the stuff that you need to get to. Stop it. That's ridiculous. Let me read to you what the information security requirements are for all personnel. This is coming from the handbook AS 805C. And it gives you some options. This is page 2, I think. And it tells you what to do to create a password, how to make a strong password, et cetera, et cetera. And it also says what not to do when you create a password. Do not use all the same characters or digits or other commonly used or easily guessed formats. 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of thing. Don't use your name, your family members' names, a birthday, or any other personal information. I was guilty of that. I forgot that was one of the things. I always I used a family member's name. That's not a good idea. They're saying not to do that. Do not use terms such as post office or user or other postal service terminology or acronyms when you're creating your password. Now, this next one makes me laugh. It is actually in here. I cannot believe this is in here. It says this: do not use words that appear in the dictionary. Okay, make up your own, ladies and gentlemen. Make up your own words. I think that's not, it's there. I don't know why. You can look it up yourself. Do not use your log on ID, and do not repeat your passwords by just adding a new number at the end or a symbol. Now, here's what to do about using your log on IDs. This is coming directly from the AS 805C. It says, keep your password confidential. You are accountable for the actions of anyone using your log on ID and password, even if you didn't give the user permission. Did you hear that? You are responsible if anyone uses your logon password and does something wrong. And then they ask you, well, what happened on this day? Well, I wasn't there that day. Well, your password was used. Why did you give them your password? Oh, man. You just can't do it. If you've forgotten your password, there's a way to fix that. You go to ePassword Reset, and you go in there and you reset your password. If you write your password down, you store it in a place where you have personal control of it, round date the seam and seal it so that nobody can get in. And if they do, you've got evidence that it's been tampered with. But here's what you don't do with your logon ID and password. Do not write your personal password on a sticky note and attach it to a monitor. How many times have we done that? And it says, do not share your personal password under any circumstances. And here's some following examples. It says, do not share your personal password with an IT technical support staff working to resolve a service desk or a system upgrade. Do not share your personal password with coworkers to enable them to access your system for any reason. To resolve any issues related to teleworking and to enable them access to a file or an application. Don't do it. Do not share your personal password with a family member or a personal acquaintance. Don't let anyone use your logon ID or your password, and don't use anyone else's. So, if your postmaster, your manager, your supervisor tells you that you've got to share your password with someone else, don't do it. You send them an email and say, did I understand your instructions correctly? That I'm to share my logon and password with this person? And if they do tell you that, you contact your NAPS president immediately, or someone, a NAPS officer. If you have shared your password and logon with anyone else, change it today. Do not get busted on something that's well within your control. And if you're sharing passwords or you're using other people's passwords to get into applications, I'm going to bring out the can of Stoppit. Stop it. You're just going to get in trouble. It will eventually catch up with you. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like that I've never done that. I have. I'm not working now. I'm retired. But in today's environment, I'm not taking a chance anymore. By sharing your password and log-on information with anyone, I don't care how close of friends you are with a clerk or how trusted your supervisor is, don't do it. It's going to just lead you to trouble if you do. So we're going to start a little mini-series. I'm not going to do it back-to-back, but we're going to start a little mini-series here called A Can of Stoppit. And next time we do this little series, I'll talk about another area that I would use this magic can of Stoppit to encourage my EAS members of NAPS especially to be safe and to protect themselves from anything that could happen to them in the future. All right, so that's our first cup. I'm ready to pour that second cup. Big news from the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. We're now offering money market accounts. That's right. Take your savings to the next level with competitive rates and more flexibility. You can call us today or stop by the branch to learn how you can start growing your money. Your brighter financial future begins here. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our second cup this morning, I want to remind members of NAPS branches across the state of Tennessee that the Tennessee State Convention will be taking place next weekend, the 24th through the 26th of April, 2025. And if you've not registered, well, it's too late. Registration is closed. The room block is closed. So we're having about 59 people that's going to be at this convention. It's going to be great. I think it's going to be one of the largest ones that we've had in quite some time. So we're excited about that. That's a reminder to all of those that have registered that it will be next weekend, the state convention, the 24th through the 26th. I also want to mention my good friend Dee Perez. From the Northeast Region Training Seminar. They're having one June 27th through the 28th. It's at the Marriott San Juan Resort in Puerto Rico. Doesn't that sound fabulous? You've got until May the 5th to register for this particular training seminar. Listen who's going to be there. This is an impressive list. Jimmy Warden, the NAPS resident secretary treasurer, is planning on being there. Also, the acting PMG, Doug Tolino. Wow, that's impressive. Bruce Nicholson, who is the manager of labor relations, is tentatively. So these are all tentative, but these are the people they've asked. A couple of more that I see that's going to be there. Let's see, a director of field operations and support, Tyrone Williams, is going to speak. That's awesome. You're going to get all kinds of great people. This is a great lineup. So if you are interested in going to this particular training seminar, it's the Northeast Region Training Seminar. You've got a few more days to register. And you need to contact Dee Perez, and his email address is nyavpdee@aol.com. That stands for New York Area Vice President D. And so that's how you kind of remember that. Let me say that one more time. nyavpdee, that's all together, all one word, at AOL.com. I'll put it on the message that goes out on the email as well. But it's the Northeast Region Training Seminar, and it's coming up on June the 27th through the 28th. So that's it for today's show of the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. Listen, this show is important. This particular show talking about sharing your passwords and logins, you need to share this message with everybody. I think this is a problem that is happening nationwide, and they need to know about it. So share this podcast, like this podcast, and I really do appreciate you doing that. Let me know where you're listening from. I haven't heard from anybody in a while. And also, let me know what you would pour your can of Stoppit on. Who would you use, or what would you use the can of Stoppit in any kind of postal situation? I'd love to hear from you. So, thanks so much for listening today. We are so glad that you are a part of this. And remember, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupofJoe@gmail.com.